Yo, Joburg, everybody. This is Steve. This is GI Joburg, and Hasbro said, "What?" We are coming down from the events of the weekend. It was PulseCon 2021, October, whatever it was. And we have gotten some incredible reveals. We had a topic for this podcast, but we're going to throw that out the window and just talk about new toys. But when I say we, I don't just mean me, I mean my man, Paul Deadly Pencil's birthday boy.
Hey,
Rob coming at you from Cape Town. He's got the hot scoop.
hell yeah, I'm scooping.
And bringing the band together. It's a quartet today. We got Cujo from the West Coast. Hey, brother.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Cheers.
Indeed. Wow. Guys, pinch me. O-Ring is back?
Apparently so. I think it's amazing that this entire event just to announce a new O-Ring, Storm Shadow, and Snake Eyes. I mean, that's incredible. I don't know what else happened. It's the only thing I noticed.
No drama there.
Yeah, new in air quotes. There are new elements, but anyways, we're going to get into that. First up, where to begin? Paul, you just had a birthday live stream. Happy birthday, by the way. As of recording, it's his birthday. So if you're listening to this after the fact, it was his birthday. You can still wish him if you want to. But then you just be like weird. Aren't belated birthday. It's just weird though.
It's weird, but it's cool. Nice. At least it gets our comments up. I mean, you know. I think
Comment away. Oh, and if you could leave a like on the YouTube version, that would help us incredibly. Just saying. Anyways, how did it go, Paul? What'd you get?
Okay, cool. So, it's been pretty good. I'll get into the live stream. So, I don't want to ruin too much for guys who haven't checked out the live stream, but hopefully by now you have. So, I had this cool box that was sitting in my house that had been delivered, I think it was late last week. Well, that I went to go and pick up from being delivered late last week. And inside it contained two very cool GI Joe items that I opened up. And the one is not too much of a spoiler because I did mention that I wanted to get it, was my Dreadnought Cycle. And it is so cool. What a cool toy. That was my birthday gift to myself. Thank you to Skoltz and thank you to Withers Amusements for sorting that out for me. Such a cool toy. Actually, Joe Master Joe's and Withers Amusements. Thank you guys for sorting that out. And I had a mini heart attack on the live stream. So for eagle-eyed viewers, pay careful attention to my face when I realize that when I think that there's no wheel, that there's a missing wheel in the whole build. Freaked out. You can actually see it. I'm trying to keep my composure, but my heart is racing in that scene, in that moment. God, we're not living in a movie, Paul. But yeah, dude.
I think at that point someone commented wheels are $3 on eBay, just in case you were looking. But that sucks.
So, it does suck. Jeez, my heart sank into my stomach, and I was like, oh god, here we go. But yeah, I got one of those, which is pretty rad, I think, and a pretty tasty vehicle, I must say. Way better than than a shot of it on a magazine or yojo.com or whatever's could ever do it. Those shots could not do it justice. It's actually a really cool toy. I've said really cool toy, I think at least 3 times now. So it is. What was the other cool thing that arrived? I was in the toy shop looking for some stuff and I found those GI Joe sized Batman figures or DC figures, should I say, that have been sort of in the toy aisles. Steve, I know you've picked up quite a few of them.
Oh yeah, by Spin Master. They're great fun.
They are great fun. And I picked up quite a nice, I got quite a tasty pickup in the form of Batgirl. They had a Batgirl on the show.
Yes, with the red, or Batwoman.
No, Batgirl.
Oh.
Batgirl,
cool.
Yeah. Nice orange hair. She's wearing a blue suit. Unfortunately, it's got a lot of cybery kind of junk on it, so I'll just scratch it up to it being Tron Batgirl. It says first edition or something on the box. It's made to be really special. I haven't freed it from its packaging just yet. I finally also for my birthday. I didn't get this for my birthday. I got this a long time ago. Bart helped me get my hands on one of these. The retro Hiss tank. I bought one in the States. Bart went and picked one up for me that I bought from the States, and then he put it in my box. And I haven't been able to, I wouldn't say I haven't been able to, I've been waiting for the right moment to open it. And with the announcements that Hasbro had recently, I just figured it would be fun to open that. So I've finally got my retro Hiss. It's open, and it's unassembled still as we're doing this podcast, but I'm looking forward to putting it together to play with that. Celia has treated me to something, although delivery was delayed on that, so that's only arriving on Monday. So that'll be tomorrow as of the recording of this podcast. And I've got a box from the States. I've got 2 boxes coming in from the States of stuff that I've harvested over the last year. And the awesome Mr. MC DJ ACDC has slapped something, thrown something in that box, which is a mystery figure for me, which is really cool. And there's some awesome stuff in there. And then Ryan has sent me some cool stuff. So I'm just counting those all as like, they're arriving in October. So lucky me. Yeah, so I've got a lot of good.
Happy birth month to you. Happy birth month to you. Well, for my part, I'd like to throw my sealed copy, limited edition Word Burglar Welcome to Cobra Island vinyl to your Prezi pile, or your virtual Prezi pile. Yeah, man, I don't have a turntable, and I'm not about to source one, so it only makes sense that I gift it to you, Paul, especially since your order fell through for whatever reason. Anyways, so
it was silly. Yeah,
South Africa.
But guys, actually, that's the what did you get for your birthday kind of thing. But I just want to put this out there, and this was pretty amazing. I woke up this morning to a phone that was full of notifications on Facebook, on Instagram, WhatsApp messages, emails, what have you. Okay, and it was all from a lot of you guys. I mean, the Berg Force, you guys had all dropped happy birthdays. You guys had dropped happy birthdays. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Steve. You put up that really awesome picture. Dan Shemansky and JD onesie. I had a good laugh. I loved that picture because it's such a great shot of all of us there in Tennessee and Chattanooga, and just all of us there. And JD's like, "I'm happy birthday" from the guy on the left of the photo, and Ryan and Gary and all of you guys. Thank you so much. Gary did this cool thing with Outback with like a little birthday cake. Yeah, I felt really, really special today. Thank you very, very much. That in itself is worth more than anything, and it means a hell of a lot to me. So thank you, because that's what it's meant to be, right? That's like we make these connections and stuff. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep and too soppy, but thank you. I really, really appreciated that. And I also just had such a cool day as well. So guys, thank you for being a part of that. Really appreciated it. Anyway, enough about birthday stuff. What did you guys get? Did you guys get cool new toys? Please tell me.
I'm going to put a pin in the new shit section ever so slightly and shift the mic over to our erstwhile member, Cujo. Buddy, what brings you to Joburg on this fine Sunday?
That's a keen question, because if I turn up, I have intel. But let me get a little theatrical. It's great to cross paths with you guys. It's been great to hear you over these last, how many years now? But yeah, for you guys listening, some of you guys are oldies, but there's some new people out here. Let me reintroduce GI Joburg, worldwide network. We turn up from Oslo to Queensland. Maybe one of the best media teams in the world. I'll have that conversation. But if I'm here, let's talk a little bit of Inktober. We usually get some Inktober art on social media. I know, Paul, you said some people have been on Insta. Maybe you got some names. But I wanted to bring up one person that found the tweets. So if you're on Twitter, I think it's at Nesum Rabum. I hope I'm saying that right. Turning up with some interesting Joe art from Istanbul. So apparently we got some friends out there. Cheers, guys. You guys have peeped those. Anything about his art stand out? Any characters?
Well, here's some of his art. If we want to share my screen. Hell yeah. Some
All
really
right,
good
we are
stuff.
looking at Alpine.
Mm-hmm.
Alpine looks fantastic. So these are all pictures he's done, obviously, over this month now for Inktober. He doesn't
Warming
just
up
do
for
Joes.
Jovember.
Good one. Good one.
Oh yeah, he's got a Strata Viper by the looks of things. Nice.
Some absolutely incredible stuff. It's
Oh,
actually
that's
really,
cool.
really
That
good.
crystal ball's rad.
Hell
It
yeah,
stood out
dude.
to me because it's fearless, and I haven't seen any Joe art like it. So
He kind of
interesting.
reminds me a little bit of
Cujo.
now that I try and think of it. No, yes, Cujo for sure.
But he's got a very Cujo style.
A little bit.
But also now the name escapes me. He did Sweet Tooth.
Mm.
Oh, damn, I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about.
You know how I'm talking, but yeah, his style does remind me of his quite a bit.
Oh, that's a cool shipwreck. Wow.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
good man. Good man.
He does some really good stuff. I mean, the spirit is just fantastic. But he also does ones that he hasn't colored yet. This
Seagal.
yes, Steven
Yes.
Seagal as Metalhead.
It works. It works.
It makes perfect sense.
Cloak and
And
dagger.
low light in the darkness. It's fantastic. And these are really quite amazing. And like the
Jeff
black and white
Lemire?
ones. Yes, Jeff Lemire. That's right. Thank you.
Mhm.
His name completely escaped me. Oh my god! But yeah, it reminds me a lot of Jeff Lemire.
Gabs
Deep
in the
Six
house.
in the deep,
Cheers, man.
and a snow job. Yeah, some really really good stuff.
Anywho, GI Joe in Istanbul. It's a good look.
Heck yeah.
It's a good look. I think aside from that, apparently there's a hashtag called Pouchtober, and of course there's some Snake Eyes art, stuff like that. Very Liefeld-ish, but enjoy that. To actually, and you know what? A lot of people have been blowing me up. Actually, nobody, but I'm gonna say it anyway. People have been asking me about, well, do you like the declassified figures? They're declassified, right?
Well,
Classified.
they've
Damn it.
become classified. Yeah, you'd think declassified makes more sense actually.
I'll get it right. My thoughts. Beautiful figures. I'm not gonna argue that. I have two beefs. The individual card art. Think about it. The reason why the reason why Cobra was scary is because it wasn't about the artist. It's about what you were looking at. Vaporwave Destro looks nice, but he ain't scaring me. My other issue is this. GI Joe is smart. Power ratings are nice, but you're never gonna forget beauty is skin deep, but ugly goes clean to the bone. So I'll drop
But
that one.
Cujo, we're in the era of multilingual packaging, which bears 3 languages, but is only sold in the English-speaking part of the world by the looks of things.
True.
Hilarious.
That's not a bad shout.
Yeah, look, it's file cards are great. File cards are top of the list in terms of like building the mythos, but graphics are universally understood. It's an unfortunate, sign of the times. Just like the fact that we have product information that like takes up half the packaging.
Well, then
Don't
do this.
eat this. Don't put it on your head.
Do this then. If the character is from Mexico, make the file card in Spanish. Make us go digging.
Hey, look, Mark Webber had the suggestion to just put a tie it into people's mobile phones, have a QR code, and then it links them to the file card in their language. That way, you're not using up cardboard real estate, and you don't have to print 17 different card backs.
There he is.
Hey.
Yeah.
But
Weber's
still,
usually
I
one of
don't
the
know how I
sharpest.
feel about QR codes on our GI Joe packaging. Jarring.
Gotta
Yeah, well,
go
Don't mind that
digital.
at all.
Weber is one
they
of the
did that
sharpest
with
guys in the
the-
room.
They did that stuff with the Avatar line, Avatar figures. They actually put in like a plastic kind of a dog tag, and that had a code on it that you could scan. Yeah, and it would do like a whole augmented reality thing. I think it's a really, really great idea. I just think they were a little bit too forward thinking on that one. I think they were a bit ahead of their customer base.
Before we move on from this, a little quick fire. and this has to be fast. Do you have any
Ooh.
file card one-liners, one sentence that hits right away? I'm going to go with Steven first. Go.
Possibly the world's worst clarinet player.
Amazing. Paul, go.
Geez, I'm gonna quote this one wrong. But the best at hide and seek.
Nice.
There we go.
Go
Rob?
ahead.
Oh my goodness, my brain. I'd like to say I can remember any file cards. It's probably Scarlett's one about someone being so deadly, but also having a really good sense of humor. I think having a good sense of humor is very important.
Damn it, man!
Especially
Why
in
didn't
these
I do
times.
Why didn't I do my as dangerous as an unsheathed sword in the dark?
Flailing in the dark.
A
too
flailing
late.
sword in the dark. I mean,
Flailing. Wow, that's useful.
I know, right? Speaks to his proficiency. Oh,
I think Steven said it best, the gift that keeps giving.
right.
Shall we?
What's
shall
yours?
we?
What's yours, Cooch?
The one that came out was "Beauty is skin deep, but ugly cuts clean to the bone."
Gorgeous.
That's such a characterization.
I mean, hideous.
I know. Okay, to business. Yes, there is business, guys. Hashtags move. Jovember, I believe it was started by DJ Kaufman. Cheers, brother. But embraced by the community, especially amateur artists. So this is what I'm thinking. I don't know what you've heard about shipping around the world, but it might be a little slow these days. If you're thinking a good gift for a Joe fan for Christmas or something, how about the gift of digital art? You know, it doesn't have to get complicated. If you're on a social platform, drop Jovember and what was the other hashtag? Yo Joburg. Let's do some personal promo. But if you get your art out there in Joe community, buy some Joe art for somebody for Christmas. You can put that on a T-shirt in your own town. You don't have to ship anything. So I am personally going to do something I've never done, and that is do a Joe piece of art for every day of the month. I'm going to do some
Good luck, Cooch.
Yeah, I'm going to do some file card art, but here's the catch: all personal figures. So if you want a $5 file card sketch, find me, tell me your code name, your specialty. If you want your face on it, I'm going to need a picture, obviously. But yeah, there's about 10 spoken for already, so about 20 left. And the rest of you guys, get in the tweets. We'll bounce them, create a little bit of money for yourself, a little stocking stuffer for Joe guys going into December. I think that's all I have to say about that. Me and Paul have some unfinished business, but I think we'll turn up at the perfect time. Am I right?
that is right, my dude. We will
Good man,
we will
good
finish
man.
that off. All
Heck yeah.
kinds of things are happening. Plans
I
within
don't-
plans.
I don't want to keep you guys from talking about Tiger Force Outback, so
You know it, bro. You know
I'm going
it.
to end with one final question, and it's rhetorical, but you can answer it for yourself. Is GI Joe Hasbro corporate? Is GI Joe deftly sculpted plastic? Is GI Joe the intrigue of IDW's publishing? Let me ask that question a different way and hope that ghost doesn't sneeze in the hallway back there. Is Bobby Vala turning up to go indie and make figures that people have enjoyed GI Joe? Is Full Force going full Skeletron with his squad GI Joe? Is What's on Joe Mind platforming people on the regular GI Joe? Is Joe on Joe, who's playing through an injury right now on his pod weekly, GI Joe? Is Word Burglar, who just went full drab on his record, GI Joe? Is GI Gary with the motor pod going GI Joe? Is Mate Mylar, who just tweeted, did you guys see that picture of Snake Eyes riding the shark the other day?
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Ooh, that might have to be the thumbnail for this pod. Is that
That's a
GI
cool
Joe?
pic.
Is Dave Cabal getting back in the flow, GI Joe? I see you, brother. Hold down San Diego, yeah. Is HCC, who put the community on his back for years, GI Joe? Is Dragon Fortress, who's still blinding people with plastic, GI Joe? Who am I forgetting, guys? Is Attica Gazette writing articles, G.I. Joe?
It's GI Joburg, GI Joe.
Damn.
It's in the name, bitch.
Steve, raise somebody up. Who you got?
I'm trying to think who you missed.
Lord.
Well, the podcasts on my regular rotation. You named the Chaplain's Assistant Motorpod, but I'd like to also throw in Anything Joe's, Order of Battle Pod, Podcast from the Pit, Talking Joe, Real American Headcast, GI Joe Chronicles, The Devil's Due Years. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Oh, guys, the best podcast, the best GI Joe related podcast on the internet. Let's not forget about K-Hip, knowing as half the podcast.
There it is.
Dude, yeah. Anyone who's doing GI Joe on the regular, they're like my inner circle. It's very niche. It still is very niche, and yet there are weekly podcasts. So if you are a fan of GI Joburg on the regular, guess what? Expand your listenership and search out other GI Joe podcasts.
And
That's
Jovember is
all
probably the best time to do it, I think. Exposure.
I think all I have left, because I burned bright today, I am going to turn up in November for a Veterans Day stream with They Gone. So if you want to jump on that, we'll be there. And I think that's it, gentlemen. So I'm going to end it on my terms. Steven, you're still the realist. Paul, you're the illest. And Rob, it's good to have you back in the mix. And obviously, you're the scoopist.
I got him.
Dude.
Well, thank you for joining us, dude, and for getting us up to date with what's going on and reminding us of Jovember. I think I definitely forgotten.
Dude, break out the Sharpies, my man. I want to see your skills.
Wait, I take the pictures. I don't make the pictures.
Nice.
Dude, I think that is perfectly qualifiable. If you want to take a photo of a GI Joe every day for Jovember, I think that's perfectly cool.
Oh
It
yeah,
doesn't have to be
go
a drawing.
unofficial NFT. You feel me? That picture's worth money to somebody. All right, gentlemen. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'll catch you soon.
Yo, Joe, Cujo.
Cool, dude.
Cheers.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Well, it seems like we're beginning with the end, saying goodbye to Cujo, and then jumping right back into our regular segment of new shit. Rob, anything?
No, nothing new yet. I'm still peeping what's out there. I'm kind of actually more excited about what's new. You know, what's actually coming out soon. I think what we're going to be talking about soon. It's probably got me more excited than like old stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Before we need to get into that, we got to clear the old from the bloody ledger. Oh, guys. Well, firstly, a little glimmering silver lining, shall we say? Kim got me a Star Wars Lego Advent calendar.
Oh,
No
cool.
ways.
Yeah, Mandalorian
cool.
inspired. Just looking at the box, I see there's a Mando with a very Christmassy scarf on the, sort of the front of his minifigure. Cute.
Oh,
There's an X-wing build. Man, an Advent
Damn.
calendar, guys. When last did you have Advent calendars?
I've never had an advent calendar.
what?
Boo
Never
to
Paul?
that. Never.
That's
Not
crazy.
even like crappy
Always
cooking
as a
chocolate.
kid, I had them.
No,
Yeah,
never.
the chocolate ones were the best.
Never. The closest
Well,
I
guess
got to an
what?
advent
Celia's getting you
calendar-
one this year.
The closest
wink,
I ever
nudge,
got to one
nudge,
of those
Celia.
was my buddy James. Like, shame. He gave. I remember we did a sleepover, and then he gave me the chocolate from the day of his advent calendar. That was pretty cool. And I was always like, "Mom, I want one of those calendars with the chocolate." And she's like, "Okay." And then it just never happened.
I can
Those
almost
Lego ones are
taste.
cool, dude.
But Paul, I'm so sorry. You didn't even get to taste one block of that crappy
I did,
chocolate.
yeah.
'cause-
James gave me, like, that was the one time. Like, he gave me a
Oh,
piece
right.
of that chocolate. I mean, it is shit chocolate. I can't stand that
It's
stuff. but
terrible.
still.
But at the time, we thought it was so magical. We thought it was like Christmas chocolate. And it was just a piece of chocolate. Like, there's nothing in it. No toffee or nuts or anything like that. Just moving on to the next item of new shit. Guys, I've got a problem. I admit to this being a problem. This is actually a collector bane of my life. I need to break the cycle, and I need to stop letting this shit bug me because it bugs me. And GI Joburg is my weekly dose of therapy where I get to like offload about it. I got another one of my top 5 items for 2021 this week.
Yeah, we were supposed to guess what it is, and we still haven't yet.
Yeah.
No. This is a new one.
This is a
You-
new one
you
that
failed.
you wanted.
You failed to guess the Sky Striker. You failed to
did.
guess Toxo Zombie. Can you guess number 3?
I want to say Outback with the crotch because I'm struggling to remember that episode.
I was going with Outback too, actually.
Very good. Well,
We're
you're
very
correct,
friends.
except about the crotch bit. Outback
still broken.
without a crotch.
Another one.
Crotched Outbacks are hen's teeth, my friend. So this was going up for sale on
Oh my shit.
GI Joe Everything is the Facebook group. He had not 1, not 2, but 3 Tiger Force Outbacks that he was
Fuck,
parting
man.
with
Sorry.
at the princely sum of $65 for 2 of them. So two of them were priced at $65 each,
Take my
and one of them was
money.
priced at $60 each.
And all
$60.
broken crotches.
All broken, yeah, of course.
Jeez.
Can you
I
hear me?
didn't
I'm
even
like
know this
chomping
was
at
a
the
crazy
bit
thing.
looking at that picture.
Yeah.
But don't worry, Paul. Stephen bought all of them.
But here
Stephen
comes the
put in
rest of the
a
story.
yeah. Stephen put in a low ball offer of $45 on the third of them, expecting it to be shut down. But the guy was like, okay. Well, no, push it up to 50, and we've got a deal. And I was like, sweet, okay. He was the nicest seller ever, like a guy from Denmark, very, very, very polite, very efficient. Like I had literally not even paid him yet, and he'd already printed off the shipping label and boxed it up.
That's
And
crazy.
he got it out immediately thereafter.
Wow, Danish people. I have yet to meet a bad one.
Loved dealing with him
Hannibal
to a
Lecter.
point. To a point. Like
He's nice though. He eats well.
I was coming down with a bit of a cold at the time. Oh, you might even hear it in my voice still. And so like I wasn't particularly fussed about this because I just thought, oh my goodness, they're 3 at once. I've got to get in on that action. But had I been a little bit more attentive, shall we say, I would have scrutinized things a bit better. And having been spoiled for choice, gone for one of the other ones. And I'll tell you why. I asked the guy to send me some more detailed pics. He sent me this. Do you notice anything about it? It's a little bit soft focus. Not too much detail.
That belt has been painted.
No, the belt is correct.
Oh.
I mean, it is a white splotchy paint on the belt.
I know nothing.
You do. Yeah, dude, I've been fighting this battle for a long time now. Anyways, elbow cracks.
What, really?
Which
Oh,
don't
there. When I lean in really close, I can
when
see.
you squint. Yeah, look, I don't know if he did it on purpose. I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt, but when he photographed the back of the figure, it's razor sharp. It's very crisp
That's the
photography.
focus of the camera.
And you see the front, and it's soft focus. And then the next day, I asked him, like, just to be clear, man, of the 3, what were their sort of elbow conditions? And he kind of got defensive at that point, and he was like, "Oh, I don't really pay attention. I couldn't honestly tell you off the top of my head. I've got a complete mint collection of GI Joes. The paint apps have to be perfect. Everything needs to be tight. Everything needs to be complete and original. But I don't care about like the elbow crack situation." And at that point I thought, you're kind of imposing your values on me, buddy. Just because you don't care about it, don't gaslight me, man. Don't gaslight me for actually caring. Because let's face it, guys, I was spoiled for choice. I had 3 to choose from, and if I picked a dud, well, it's still my money, and it might not be a lot for a Tiger Force Outback, but it's still $50, and that's a lot of Tom for a single old, dusty, damaged figure. Anyways, so I was a bit miffed about that, but before I could trade it for another, he had firstly sent it already, and secondly, the other two had already been sold off to the United States very, very quickly.
Damn, man.
So
I
I
wanted
was
them both so
left.
bad.
Paul, man, you got to be fastest finger first. I tell you, as I've known over the years, like this stuff gets me giddy because it's just disappears like so quickly. It actually has become problematic. I have anxiety about this figure. I need to
Welcome to
stop
my world.
searching it. Anyways, 2 down and still not quite the Tiger Force Outback I've been looking for. So I don't know. Maybe things are about to take a turn, but we'll get into that. Anyways, enough of my tale of woe. It's on its way to me for good or for ill, and hopefully between that one and the one that I found back home, I can piece together a play-worthy one. At least this one doesn't have a
Maybe.
cracked off toe.
Maybe third time's the charm. I don't know. Not to encourage you to keep looking.
Anyways, that's that and all that. Gentlemen, the reveals. Where to begin? I suppose with a pictorial guide.
Should we show this one? Should we start with this one?
Hey.
Paul's jumping the gun. Okay, cool. Yeah. I've got images queued up, but if you've got images queued up, we can.
We might have
them.
different images queued up. These are some that I
Indeed.
managed to grab.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're looking at one of the 2 new old O-ring figures that they revealed. Of course, it's Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Who else would they lead with? And it's a 2-pack. And it was interesting because when I saw the box, I was like, okay, so it's a box, but then inside the box is the original packaging as well.
Yeah, which I couldn't get a pic of. Sorry.
Oh,
No,
well,
that's
then
fine.
You guys had-
then I'm taking over.
Taking over. But like, it's interesting because I mean, the one thing I heard that was new or updated with these is that they've changed the composition of the O-rings. They're now silicon, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe more durable, and the forearms are PVC, which is something they started working in with the later
PVC
O-rings
stuff, yeah.
produced.
No, I do remember
what do
they
you think
were a
of the
bit softer.
artwork of the sort of the case that contains the 2 carded figures?
It's very romantic.
Yeah, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow getting very personal.
It's like they're about to throw their blades away and like hug each other.
I love how Storm Shadow's toes are so pointed. It's very coquettish. Hey,
Very ninja. It's very dramatic.
is it?
Yeah, if you look at like, there's an artwork I did for a piece of our merchandise, and I've also got like a Storm Shadow doing a bit of a jump, and I've also done that with his toes. So it's very
Ballet
ninja. It's very
dancers
expressive.
everywhere are very envious of Storm Shadow's arches. He's got a beautiful point.
I'd buy his feet pics.
So, one word. Storm Shadows fans only. There's Rob.
But guys, the elephant in the room is that it's the wrong Snake Eyes art. The artist ran with Snake Eyes version 2, and for better, for worse, they are going with the version 1.5 Snake Eyes, the Commando, which makes sense because the first time these 2 characters squared off, absolutely, it was Commando and it was 84's Storm Shadow. So it makes the most sense, even though objectively V2 is the more popular.
Listen, I want to just have 2 seconds about that artwork. I don't like it. It's not bad. I just don't like it. Moving
Well,
on.
you can discard it immediately.
Yeah,
Something
that
else
box
that's interesting about the artwork, Storm Shadow's lower sash is white in the artwork. And just before you think, oh, that's an error, look at what they did with his figure. They also made the lower part of his sash white. And on the
Makes no
original, that's a
sense.
paint app.
That's correct.
There are some differences that jumped out at me. They've covered the rivets, it seems. The shoulder rivets have
And
like
the inner elbow as well.
Ah, really?
Yeah. I noticed that on the, for the pics from the video, when they were displaying them with those cool clear stands.
Oh, yes.
His inner elbow is covered as well with like a little thingy. So
I don't know if it's a cap or if it's actually a paint application. It could be a paint application because to get a cap over the sort of the rivet head,
no, that's just ridiculous.
That's a
no,
lot of effort.
I don't think there's an insert on a figure at this scale. I think it might just be quite thick paint. Whereas back in the day, I don't know how they sprayed the rivets to kind of better match the figures. But I'm looking at where is he? Oh yeah, the original 1984 Storm Shadow, which I have behind me, doesn't have any paint application to the rivet. The rivet in at least the shoulder joint rivet is just metal.
Well, I suppose
Naked
that
metal.
means
And then
they painted the stuff before and then they put the figure together, probably.
yeah, that makes sense. Also, I've got a feeling that the skin tone on the forearms might actually be painted as well. So it might not be skin-colored plastic for the forearms on the PVC version. It might not be. I mean,
yeah, it could
looking at
actually
these
be because I
pictures,
mean, yeah, it's like they painted the arm guards, the forearm guards, like white, while the other arm itself is just completely skin colored.
But I mean,
Well,
I've got
I'm
mine
pretty
in my
excited.
hand. Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
I've got mine
Something
in my
else that
hand
jumped
now.
out at me with this promo image that is on screen for the YouTube version. I'm gonna have to describe it for everyone listening. Does it look like his thigh screw is a Phillips head, or does it look like it's one of those funky other kinds of screw heads?
Ooh, that's an
Let me not derail this too much. Let me just check. I've got another picture of him. Hold on, let's see. Can't tell from either picture.
Well, I've got a picture of Snake Eyes. Also,
it
can't really
looks more
tell.
star. It looks more like a star
Yeah.
almost. I don't think that is a regular.
To me, it looks like the kind of screws that you can only tighten, that you can't release.
Yeah,
Anyways, this is all hopeless speculation. We won't know until someone has these in hand because, a picture of a metal screw, the way it glints, it could be any number of different kinds of heads, but we shall see. Guys, let's start at the top, all the way
Yes.
back
Sorry,
to the classified
I was
reveals.
just excited about them.
rewind.
Okay, so they are not announcing the pre-orders for the Battle Android Troopers, but the cat is out of the bag. Or at least the regular release Battle Android Troopers. The cat is out of the bag. The bat is on the way. We knew that already. We didn't know that it was going to come out in a different iteration first up. But they did show us some images of the standard issue bat. Stunning.
It's sexy. I mean, I have no intention of collecting any classified figures, but
boo.
this is a very well made figure.
But you would be tempted with a bat, is what you're saying.
I think so, definitely.
Okay.
I love the chest
That's good
piece
to
as
know,
well.
Rob.
That it has the internal thing, but then it has this kind of like plastic thing that you pop on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
like
like
that little
armor.
detail. And the fact that both hands can be removed so you can attach the weapons.
And I like his gun.
Oh,
It's quite
yes.
tasty as well.
Oh, it's very
So-
cool.
And something I would like to add, just on that, when you order a full set of these on BBTS, and I have pre-ordered a full set of these, spoiler alert, but they say that it's figure 1, 2, and 3, okay, which are named, and then there's a mystery figure.
Ooh.
Or should I say it's figures 1 and 2, and then the third one's a mystery figure, sorry. So I think the bat is the mystery figure, at least I hope it is. And I think maybe that's an incentive that's been put through, maybe through Hasbro or something, so that guys don't troop build the shit out of this or like take it out of other people's hands. But yeah, dude, I am full on for this bat. And also, do you see that brick that he's got with like the little like pieces of stuff coming out of it?
Mm.
That's
I
an
haven't-
eraser. I'll bet you it's an eraser.
I've got a feeling it might be a part. Oh, there we go. That's what it is. So his claw is holding that brick. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So that means that the claw has articulation. It's possible.
That'd
Well,
be
the
really
25th
cool.
anniversary claw had articulations, so it stands to reason that they would have included
yeah,
that
it
on the
does.
upscale. Yep,
Yes,
yep,
yeah.
yep.
But I
All
think
right,
the
guys.
coolest thing about it is the backpack. I mean, they didn't show it very often, but it's kind of like an amalgamation
Oh.
of the original and of the 90s one. Because like some of the
Right.
attachments could go, upright, and then the other attachments kind of point down on the edges of the backpack. So it's like a combination of the two,
Hmm.
which I thought
Presumably
was very
that's
cool.
that's to avoid the situation where you've got to have these 3 slots that you're shuffling, but like 4 attachments essentially,
Mm.
or
It's very
5
cool. I
if you
think
have
it's
the
a
other hand.
very nice update on the backpack.
But yeah,
Beautiful.
I'm down for a bat, big time.
You are down for a
So-
bat. Cha-ching! We're going to keep your tally going this whole time, Paul. If there's anything that you don't want, let us know.
Oh no, there are some, and it might
Oh,
surprise you,
some losers.
but it's worth mentioning. Ryan also, and I'm just gonna put it on the screen again. Ryan mentioned that the Cobra officer is the mystery figure. I'm happy about that. I think that's really, really cool. And I will then revert back to saying that I think that is a way of them trying to keep them out of the hands of scalpers so that more guys can get them, possibly, or to make it a little bit harder to army build them or to troop build them and make it easier for guys to have collections. I think I'd like to think that that's maybe the strategy here. At the same time, I would have preferred it to be a bat. So, yeah. Don't get me wrong. The Cobra officers are cool because it's basically the trooper. So
Well, thanks, Bergforce, for keeping us honest. Yeah, man. Rampant speculation can easily be put down when you have knowledgeable fellows like that in the chat.
exactly.
Thank you.
Thanks, live
Let's
audience.
move on,
That's
boys.
cool.
Python Patrol has entered the fray. The first offering, that being the Python Patrol Viper, which, it's the Viper with all new deco. Mark Webber from What's on Joe Mind, I credit you, sir, pointing out that unfortunately they didn't correct his thigh mismatch. The upper thighs have the yellow pattern on the outside, and then the lower thighs have it on the inside of the thigh. But what are you going to do, man? You got to retool those parts?
No, pop them out.
Unlikely.
Just turn it around.
Can you just turn them around?
I'd like to think you can.
Turn around.
The lower thigh then would connect to the knee in a very unique way. So you'd actually have to pop them off and swap them.
Yeah.
Swap
I
sides.
think that's what I'm going to do on mine.
You're going to have to
When I
then
get mine-
reassemble the lower legs as well, because
Well-
I'm pretty sure the boots have a left and a right.
I'm happy to do that because that will drive my OCD up the wall. The cool thing is that I've thankfully got a Viper coming, and I'm very,
Oh, you
very
can practice
excited
on
about
that one.
that toy. Yeah.
Nice.
Not the
But
Python Patrol
thoughts on
one,
the
but-
Python Patrol Viper? Paul, are you going to buy one?
Python Patrol, no. And I'll tell you why. No,
Can't
I'll tell
target
you why.
exclusive.
loses quickly.
That it makes it way more difficult because it's an exclusive figure. Secondly, I'm not that hot for Python Patrol. Like I would love to get the vintage of this character of a vintage Python Patrol Viper. That would be aces. But I'm just not feeling the big one. I don't know. I think it's a great toy, but I'm just not feeling it.
Yeah, I
me
think it looks
personally.
really good.
Yeah. Like
I think
really
it's
nicely
fantastic.
done there. Those
Yeah,
are
they
cool.
Next
did a
up.
really good job.
Python Patrol Bat.
And you can't make any mistake because it says Python Patrol on their chest, and that irritates me.
Hey man, if Kuja was here, he'd tell you about the importance of branding. Still, I don't know if the Python
Not
Patrol
when you're
logo
killing
is...
people.
Yeah, and Python Patrol as a logo is too busy. I mean, if you think of how primal the Cobra sigil is, the Python Patrol additions to the snake motif just muck it up, really.
You could have
it's
just
cool
left it out. Put
It's
it on
cool
his
to
back,
have it
maybe.
on boxes and on artworks, but like to have on the figure. Look, fortunately, you can ditch the chest plate and just have him,
Which is cool.
classic bat with just the mechanical detail beneath, as they have in the boxed images of the Battle Android Trooper. You can see the exposed greeblies, which
See the backpack better as well.
yes, the Python Patrol bat has lesser paint apps on his chest greeblies. It just occurred to me. It seems like a lot of the detail is kind of just washed to grey. But that's unfortunately just a malady that's always followed Python Patrol. I'm looking at you, Python Patrol, Crimson Guard. Grey face. Yeah, okay, Paul. So is this an easy pass as well?
In favor of the original bat, yes, definitely. I mean,
Mhm.
the fact that we've got the classic bat out, I'd much rather have that. It's an effort thing, you know. I'd rather put in the effort to get a classic version than a Python Patrol version. You know,
Ooh,
it's that kind of vibe.
two
Although the
losers in a
fact that there
row.
is a Python Patrol bat is very cool. Like that makes
It's nice that
sense.
they are doing like the sub teams variation,
Yeah.
which it makes sense that they would do that because it's more mileage for their sculpting that they've done already.
Mm-hmm. Though some criticism has been leveled at the fact that like you've got a bat in two-tone. You know, he's got this maroon-ish upper body, grey bottoms. Like bats work best as like one jumpsuit, then with the sort of the details layered onto it. I'm neither here nor there because I don't
I
really
can
have a
see
dog in the
that, but I
race.
mean, you kind of just put pants on him essentially. I mean, he
Exactly.
he looks like he's wearing clothes now.
And where's his pythonized hatching? It like only exists on the chest plate and it isn't carried over onto the body. But I watched the Pulse Con stream and the complexities of getting that cross hatching onto these sculpts. It's no easy feat, I
It's
believe.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they minimized it, and also that's probably why they didn't do
Exactly.
so many back in the day as well. It's not that easy to do.
On the
I think maybe the paint
O-ring stuff,
masking
it's
on
easier.
on the O-ring stuff, the paint masking is far easier than these. I mean, these just made up of a complex number of interlocking and folding parts. Yeah, but hey, it's 2021,
That
guys.
artwork is sexy though,
Up your
hey.
game.
Oh, the artwork's
Like-
amazing.
That bat
Absolutely.
is oof. Wow. Destroy. I wonder if but it looks like the classic bat comes with a different head sculpt. Like it comes with two head sculpts.
The
whereas-
damaged head sculpt, yeah.
Yeah, whereas the
this guy
Python
does
one,
not.
unless it's hidden behind the artwork, it doesn't seem to come with it.
Maybe, perhaps that is the tooling that is delaying the whole process. Like they want to hold back on the classic bat. Or no, actually, you know what? It's mainly got to do with this Target exclusive landing at this time. They wanted to kick off the Python Patrol versus Tiger Force with some heavy hitters, I guess, to get people salivating. So that's why the regular release bat got shuffled to the back. Because
Chaplin
you know,
Assistance
if
Motorpod says
Yeah.
he can't wait for a Sonic Fighters deco of a classified Viper. Now I'd buy that for a couple of dollars.
yeah, have them
That is rad.
flanking your pimp daddy Destro, because that's a lot of
I
gold.
dig it, man. That thing is so 80s space ninja. It's great.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's move on. Vipers in the Rain. Lovely, lovely photography that they showcased, I must say.
Benelux catalog.
Yeah, I know, right? It does evoke that. But it gets better. Holy Hannah, it's time to talk about Outback. Tiger Force
Again.
Outback. Again, yeah. Yeah, exactly. How very timeless.
At least
Yeah,
this
I
one's
still don't
cross.
have
You
one.
won't get it broken.
Oh, yeah.
This
He's
is a
rock
fantastic
solid.
figure. He looks amazing. Like, I can't imagine not wanting to own this if you're into the classified line.
Ah.
Yeah, you're right.
But does it tempt a guy like Rob who isn't into the classified line? Just a little bit? Look
I
at that
suppose, yeah, just a
fabulous
little bit.
beard.
Like oh yeah, I can only dream of having a beard like that. I think yeah, if I had to buy any figures from this line, probably a bat and maybe Outback as well.
Oh,
There's a Joe and a Cobra. You know, they're
I've got to-
fighting it out in the jungles.
Well, MC DJ ACDC and Ryan Sweeney have made a classified collector out of me, let me tell you. And when I saw
and
this,
for my part, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Paul.
oh no, sorry, I was gonna say, man, like when I saw this yesterday, like Celia and I were about to leave for something, I can't even remember what. Oh, we were about to go shopping, and I saw these announcements on my phone. I saw this, and I actually squealed. I was like, "Oh my god!" You know. And I don't know if you guys were maybe tracking my movement on Facebook, because I think I hearted every single picture of this Outback that was popping up on Facebook. If like Gary posted it, I hearted it. If Andrew posted it, I hearted it. If like Terry posted it, I hearted it. Surveillance posted, I mean, I went nuts for it. I have got one small critique about it though, and Stephen, I think you and I are aligned on this one. I think the tiger image is super, super amazingly sexy, but I would rather have the original look of the
Yes.
shirt. Yeah.
But as would I, just because I'm an OG fan first and foremost. But this ties in with the same design used for the Tiger Force and for
Yes.
this iteration of the Tiger Force. So this is kind of an Outback wearing it so proudly on his chest kind of makes him the flagship of this unit. You know, going with a international release first up might seem odd to a lot of people. They're like, why not give us Flint or Duke? Well, this is a new
But he's so
character, firstly.
desirable.
It's very desirable character. It's a new buck. They were very quick to point out that this is a heavier
those
set
arms.
buck
Shit.
than
Yeah.
like the Duke and Flints, but it's a lighter buck than perhaps the roadblocks. So it's somewhere in the middle. He's still jacked as all get out, but he is
dude.
not as heavy as roadblock as he shouldn't be. You know, he's
Yeah.
a big dude, but he's not the biggest
Loving
dude.
that face sculpt.
They're also quick to point out that they sculpted some furry forearms.
Yeah, they look
Right?
good though, hey? But those are
Hey?
good forearms. That
They're
dude punches
amazing
and
forearms.
looks amazing.
He's got the pump, guys. He's got the pump.
And he's got a real gun.
But the other thing about the kitty shirt, I'm gonna say, is that yes, it's not as expansive by using the actual Tiger Force tiger head instead of the classic kitty shirt from 1990. But with that, as in the words of Mark Webber, brutal chest cut, it would kind of spread over the lower torso as well, and the articulation would kind of probably interfere with the design a bit.
No ways.
Or-
No, you could have it like that, and then the mouth could open and close.
Like a tattoo that talks.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm just, those are pros and cons, just kind of adding my 2 cents to the argument. But yes, I prefer the classic. And just on the topic of Tiger Force Outback, the reason why it's so venerable in my eyes was because it was the Outback that I was introduced to. It was the one that I fawned over in the catalogs.
Likewise.
Because we never got sight nor sound of the white t-shirt wearing original release in South Africa. So when I saw that for the first time, I was like, who's this imposter? Why has he got red hair? Is it Snowjob? No. Outback is this grizzled old man. That's Outback. That's what makes him so unique. I did not see him as this kind of redhead. And I cannot. I still will remain loyal to this kind of first blushings I had with the character. So them doing this as a classified release really tempts me. Not that we'll ever see them here because Target fails in Australia.
Those are big words from Bart. I'm just putting that out there. I'm in for these guys. Probably the only Tiger Force figure I like, and I'm not sure why. Lol.
All right.
It's awesome, Bart. And it's tasteful.
all his gear is storable. That's something they also made a song and dance about, whether it's the entrenching
Oh wow!
spade.
Have they been listening to our podcast?
You would
It feels
think,
like
but
they
no.
have.
Look, this is an important time to mention this because just like with Disney and filmmaking, it feels like there's a lot of like testing the waters and seeing what the fans say and how they react. Like feedback is immediate in the time of social media. So yes, we are seeing massive course corrections from the classified series. You know, definitely veering away from anything Operation Blackout related, as we saw in the early days, veering away from the movie line that I imagine is absolutely dead in the water now, and totally tapping into the nostalgia market. So yes, they have heard us. They've heard the chorus of fans out there clamoring for more authentic reimaginings of old school. And that's what we're seeing, guys.
Outback.
Get ready.
Outback.
Uh,
Pity about
anything
the
else we want
artwork,
to
though.
say? You don't like the artwork for the
No.
box.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. It's no disrespect, to the artist. I love that they went for a heavily stylized portrait on the box. I don't like the artwork. I'm not saying it's a bad artwork, and I love that they did a heavily stylized portrait. I just feel like it's the wrong. I just feel it's wrong. Okay. For example, the best way I can put it is if I draw Outback and he looks like that, I'm going to feel like I haven't personally captured the character. That's me. That's a personal thing. I'm not dissing the artist here. But this does have a very cool positive spin on it as well. The fact that Hasbro has been so experimental with the artwork packaging has been awesome to see. You know, that we've got like really tight comic style art, really tight digital painted stuff, and very cool loose traditional kind of sketchy art like this. And you guys know that I love sketchy artwork because that's the kind of art I like to make for the merchandise tees as well. So, yeah.
Well, it kind of speaks to what Kujo was saying earlier. There isn't, while there isn't a uniformity to the looks of the packaging, you know, based off the artworks, they are at least attempting to kind of customize the artwork to the characters themselves. So you're getting a feeling of who the character is, or their interpretation of who the character is through the artwork. Because I mean, the focus on these, I think, more so than say with smaller figures, is the figure itself. Like that's what's taking up the huge amount of real estate on the front of the packaging. Is you see the figure, you see GI Joe, and then the rest of it kind of comes out. You know, his face and the artwork. So I think because of the different focus on the bigger figures, you can kind of get experimental with the artwork and have that be less uniform than said was back in the day with the 3 and 3/4 inch figures, where the artwork was the thing screaming at you first. You know, like that's GI Joe because it's the same style of artwork across the entire line. Like, you know, from a distance you see the art, you see the word GI Joe, and when you get closer you see, whoa, this amazing O-ring figure.
Awkwardly rattling, you know, without a pose. Kind of both his hands are in his crotch. He's kind of looking a little sad off to the one side.
There.
Yeah.
What's the next one you got queued up for us?
Oh, let's move along. Okay, well, we have
to the
lovely,
face.
once again, photography of the Battle Android
like
Trooper
Snake.
holding Outback, kicking the Viper in the face. And apparently that is done with no wires, no putty. That was done free on the set. So
Yep.
bravo.
So they've been listening to our podcast and watching the play motions. Good on them.
Your posing game is reaching Joburg standards. Enough of that, Paul. Okay, so next reveal.
Hey, I'm allowed to. You know.
Classic Storm Shadow, and we can blow right past all of that.
Why?
Talk about just to troll you. What do you want to say about a classic,
They did it well.
1984-esque? They did do it well. Okay,
They got it right,
passes
and I'm so
Paul's
glad-
scrutiny.
They put the arrows on the left-hand side, which I appreciate, which is cool. And the swords are going to be on the right-hand side, which makes me happy. And the holsters, the sword sheaths look good. It's just a pity about the sash being on his right-hand side and not on his left-hand side. I'm hoping that that can be something you can just move around. Also feels like Hasbro has been listening. Great that you can put all the weapons on his pack again. The hood is nicely handled, in my opinion. And I love those arms. They look really great. I'm sorry if I seem like such an arm freak, but they're just really well made arms. That's
Check
an
the
instant win for me.
texturing on the hood. It's got a great ribbing to it. Like he's wearing corduroy. I mean, there's a lot of texture work going in at this scale, and they didn't hold back. They kind of knew what they were dealing with Storm Shadow. Like, this has got to be, we got to put in the effort. We can't just do a white
Look at
repress
them.
of things
Look
that
at
have come
them
before.
cheeks. Them bum cheeks.
Oh yeah, ladies.
Deutsch.
So this is the benefit of coming a little bit later to the party when the other podcasts have already weighed in. But once again, Mark Webber, you're a saint of GI Joe. He makes note of the fact that Storm Shadow has the two, the index finger and the zap or the bird covered, as an archer would, and the other two fingers are exposed. So the fingers that draw the string have some protection.
That is actually very cool. I just hope we
Nice
can move his sash to
detail.
the left, because in martial arts language, having the sash on the left has got a significance to it. It means that he's a master. He's not a student.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Sash is on the right, and then when you become a senior, at least in Kung Fu, you move your sash to the left when you become like an instructor or a senior, so to speak.
Well, maybe he doesn't consider himself a master yet.
Well, the vintage one does. So
Until
a little
he
sash.
leaves it unpainted.
Yes.
Anyways, I wanted to say about the artwork. Don't you think it looks like skate deck art?
Yes, it does.
Mm.
Looks like skate art.
Totally.
It's very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
See, I dig
Alright.
that. Yeah.
Is that all we have to say about Storm Shadow?
Yeah.
Can we move on?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna buy
it's
one.
pretty
duh.
decent. It's a good figure.
Oh yeah, Paul chalked that up to his final tally. Add
His
to
winners.
On my
cart.
shopping list. Yeah.
Guys, Storm Shadow's eternal nemesis is next. Spirit. Or Spirit Iron Knife. Comments, thoughts. Freedom has
What a
2 sets of
surprise.
wings.
What?
He
a
has no
surprise.
wings.
Well,
I-
you can have him at rest and also splayed out in flight mode. Which
Flight
terrific. That's it.
mode.
Yeah, activate flight mode. Ding!
Rip the other wings off.
in this
He's
household,
amazing.
in my household, Spirit has the sort of achievement of being picked up by Celia. And I had all my GI Joes splayed on the floor because I was busy checking for O-rings and, just doing an inventory. And he has the honor of Celia picking him up, making a line
his
directly
crotch
to me
flying off.
going, no, she picked him up and she was like, this is such a cool toy. So he has that honor in my
Oh.
house.
Well,
And,
she's going to enjoy this one. I mean, he's bigger
Totally.
and
Ah,
more
yeah.
detailed.
Dude, I dig this. I think this is very cool. I'm very happy we got Spirit. I'm actually very surprised we got him in his classic deco, because I know some people might feel that might be insensitive in some ways.
Hasbro were quick to, or at least the panel, it was probably part of the brief that they needed to kind of make sure that the information that was conveyed included the fact that actual members of the Navajo tribe were apparently consulted on what is and is not.
It's indigenous approved.
Yeah.
So his look, but when I look at it, I'm like, what did they change?
They took away the loincloth, like secondary.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
He
nobody
doesn't
noticed
have the
that.
moccasin style like tassely boots.
Yes.
He doesn't
It's
have
definitely a more
like the various
modernized update.
unpainted details on the classic. It's on his chest. They're like feathers and bits of detail. Maybe that stuff didn't fly. I don't know. It looks pretty damn good to me, and
It's a good update.
and
I think.
yet doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't materially like. There's not a visual disconnect between this and the classic. I'm like, absolutely. When I'm playing with
on
the
the
O-ring figure, this is what I'm imagining.
It's on the
They
list
did a
'cause I
very
wanna-
good job.
Oh
man,
yeah,
I
and he
picked-
doesn't have a sort of an arrow shooting gun with arrow cassettes.
Yeah,
Though
no, he's a
the-
sniper.
Beautiful, lovely repurposing.
Love that dagger.
buy
hey?
that.
That like looks almost ceremonial. Like that's like his traditional knife. Looks very cool.
Yeah,
Love
it's got
that.
sort of an ornate.
Phew, that's sexy. And that
metallurgical
face-off is
design.
Very cool.
Yeah. This is when. Oh, I said they'd course corrected away from Operation Blackout. Almost. It seems that even Spirit still has the kind of, I don't know, the matrix of leaderships. This like blue communicated, I don't know, holography device on his shoulder.
What's that on his shoulder? That patch. It's like
That's
it's like what?
that's
Is
a
that-
tomahawk.
allowed.
Is it a tomahawk? Because it
Yeah.
looks like it looks like a smoking pipe. It's almost like it says no pipe.
Peace pipe. No, well, it
No
doesn't have a
smoking
line
allowed.
through it. I think that's the handle of the axe, and you see the head of the axe, and then there are
I
two
can't see it properly.
feathers. I'm talking
No,
about
I
a
can see
tomahawk
it.
weapon, not the
Yes.
the
not
famed
regular.
GI Joe helicopter. Yeah. But yes, the Freedom is an impressive piece. It has leg articulation by the looks of things. I think the wings are most likely on a ball joint. That would facilitate
so much
both
fun.
flight poses and the ability to pop them in and out to exchange with the resting pose.
They
We
have
got that
certainly
picture
done
of Freedom.
amazing stuff with animal companions in the
Right?
classified line. I
Oh,
mean,
and you can fit him
Timber-
to
Fit him on the
Freedom's
arm.
forearm.
it's crazy.
That is
Freedom, Timber, and I suspect what comes next.
You're pushing us on. Okay, well, yes. Just on the topic of freedom, he also has a perch on Spirit's backpack, which is a lovely
that.
inclusion. Something that we should have had, right out the gate. Yeah,
So cool.
it's a great
rad.
piece. I assume the head can articulate slightly.
It looks like
seems
it
to
can.
have a-
Otherwise,
a-
why would
a
they
ridge there.
do that?
Yeah.
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 Have you got?
Oh.
Oh, yes, you got that picture. I love that. I love
He,
that.
they have a picture of him snatching what you might assume is Spirit's arrow out of the air, but actually, Spirit don't
Oh,
come with
Storm-
no arrows anymore. This is a little bit of a cross-mogination with
Shadow's
Storm
arrow,
Shadow,
Yeah.
He's
his
saving him
eternal-
from Storm
his
Shadow.
eternal nemesis. Because I mean, it wasn't Storm Shadow's introduction or Spirit's introduction in the cartoon series. The fact that Storm Shadow throws his shuriken and Freedom snatches them out of the air.
That sounds about right from what I can remember from the cartoon.
Yeah, that was their first first blushings with each other. All right, moving on then. You asked for it, Rob. Animal
I jumped
companion
the gun.
time. It's time to meet Fiona, the giant
that name.
crocodile.
And then it's like Diablo and Genghis or something for the little ones, I think is their name.
George, Diablo, and
George.
George are the hatchlings, which can be
Yeah, the
stored
little-
in the mouth of Fiona, the giant croc. If you don't know what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Croc Master in the 6-inch classified scale.
I can't actually believe they
Holy-
did Crocmaster.
I was so close to peeing in my pants out of excitement when I saw this. This is my most this is the figure I'm the most excited about in the classified and everything that's been revealed. It's just magical. I mean, that Croc is amazing. It's Croc Master. It's obviously clear that I'm a big fan of the freaks of Cobra. The fact I just can't even believe that they did him, and then they did him with such style, and they kept it looking right. Anyway, I was peed in my pants excitement for this.
Well, carry
It's-
on,
it's
Paul. How did they do
fantastic.
him right?
How did they get him right?
They didn't try to change his mask. They didn't try to change his face. They've given him all the stuff that makes him cool. Like they've added like some great detail to his vest. You know, it looks like alligator skin. Whereas both the vintage and the modern era have like a bit of a knobbly kind of effect that doesn't. It works, but it's not as convincing as what they've done here. It's really, really special. I just feel like there's a lot of win with this. The photography is great. The arms are cool. He just looks wicked awesome, and I love that whip. Like I'm glad that he got his whip. And
I'm not sold on this curly whip because in exactly what pose would it curl that perfectly? Like, it doesn't photograph well. I'm going to take exception to the whip being weird. In what situation does it look natural? It never does.
It's probably a packaging consideration. They have to fit it in the packaging.
The packaging is super long to take the croc in.
Damn.
So they could have
okay.
extended it along the length of the croc, and that'd have been fine. But yes, I
Also,
take
he's
your
got
point,
some-
Rob. It does need
Yeah.
to sort of occupy that negative space. And so the whip being coiled like that does that.
Also, that
But-
hook. He's got this cool hook thing that he comes with. Oh, it's just creepy, man.
I still know what you did last summer. Isn't that the guy from
Yes.
I Know What You Did Last
Yes.
Summer? That's his
Yeah,
murder
he
weapon.
comes with a hook. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Totally.
He's got a
This is
he's
a
got
fantastic
dagger.
figure. They've done a really good
Damn.
job with it.
Yeah, man. Like,
Wow.
oof.
Does this mean we're gonna get a raptor in the next line?
This was the
I hope
first
so.
image I saw. If I'm not mistaken, because Zazzle posted these images on one of our messenger groups, like our PlayMotion messenger group, and yeah, this set the tone for the whole thing for me. So
Oh, yes. If you haven't watched Cobra Clutch yet,
do so, because
Yeah,
now
yeah.
we can. Yeah.
we can recreate
thanks to
this. We
Action
can take the
Force-
Action Force Sarge and face off against the classified Crocmaster and Fiona. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm totally taking a trip out into the swamps again. I'll risk my life
Yeah.
for that.
I'm just hoping we now get a raptor, and I see Troy Smith is on my side with that one. He can't wait till they make a raptor. Me too, buddy. Especially after seeing Freedom's wonderful wings.
Yeah,
It's
look,
going to be
off-
amazing.
after they've
Dustin's
got on
also
top
all in
of
for
a
raptor.
wolf and a gator, like raptor's small fry in terms of animal
Exactly.
companions.
And
He's
then
gonna be easy to do.
Greg Blanchett
Ooh.
mentioned Big Boa would be my number one. Yep, it's up there. And of course, Crystal Ball all the way. Psych. No psych here. I love me some Crystal Ball. So, and MCDJ ACDC, I'm very sorry that we didn't get this announcement yet. He says Copperhead, and I hope Hasbro hears you, dude.
All right, so I think we're done talking 6-inch, boys.
Yeah.
The biggest
there one other
reveal
6-inch
of the
figure?
event
No.
was the latest HasLab creation.
Yeah, I was
Another
going to say,
nice
I think
picture.
you bought your one a little soon.
Yeah, I was premature. It's a Sky Striker. If you have been living under a rock for the last weekend,
So it's a
And
cheap
what
Sky
an
Striker, let's be
amazing
fair.
version it is too. I mean, this isn't the one that we got, in the modern era. This is new. Like
Is
this
it?
is once I think so.
I've got
it
something to
has a
show
lot
you guys.
new sculpting, and I like the fact one of the coolest things with this is that you can do the wings and the landing gear separately. The
Mhm.
mechanism can be, it works for both, and I
Yep.
think that's really cool. And you get a completely brand new O-ring figure in the co-pilot.
You get two. Oh, yeah. You get one, yeah. Sorry.
He's
Don't
brand
you guys
new. I
love
mean,
it how Ace gets a full-on pressure suit for high altitude flights, and his backseat man just basically gets airborne
Peter
helmet?
Pilot's just gonna pop, dude. He's gonna be like, "Ah!"
I know Wayne Ruthall looks a lot like Airborne in the classic box arts, but still, come on, man. He's definitely earning the name like Cheap Seats. In fact, maybe that's his code name, Cheap Seats.
That should be his
Cheap
code name.
Seats.
Cheap seats. Much better than Peter Pilot.
Damn it, poor guy.
Can I, or shotgun? Maybe he's it could be shotgun. 'cause he's
Ah.
riding, no. Yeah.
Or Goose. Shame.
Goose.
Ill-fated.
Shame,
No.
yeah. Hey,
Um,
but
this
there's an ejector
will
seat on this
set
too.
Yeah, well, there was an ejector seat on Maverick's ride, but the canopy
Whoops.
didn't blow properly. And the canopy on this one doesn't blow off either, so problem. Anyways, guys, let's talk about the good. You said the price, Paul. $230 is the buy-in.
$230.
$230, yeah. And
Yeah,
you
so
consider
the-
that cheap.
I do. I consider it cheaper than buying a vintage complete one online.
Agreed.
And
Particularly
it comes with
since this
so
will
much
come with
stuff.
cloth parachutes.
Mm. You'll get everything complete and more.
Cloth
I mean, all these like
parachutes.
weird little things that they added, so you can kind of do like action poses with it. The missiles
Like
firing,
that,
and the fact that it comes with a
missiles.
cool stand that
Yeah.
you can kind of position the vehicle on.
In the video presentation, and I recommend anyone considering this HasLab to watch the Pulse stream panel. I'll put a link in the description below. But Lenny poses the Sky Striker prototype on the stand like quite aggressively, and it's a very firm ball joint.
Mm.
So it's banking, it's taking off, it's diving, and it holds its pose and it holds the weight of the Sky Striker very, very comfortably. But in terms of extras, I think you can't not mention the fact that it comes with a retool of the classic USS Flag deck vehicles, the refueling cart, and also the tractor is now no longer manned, but instead it carries a weapons rack for ordnance and an included stepladder.
Mm.
So it's multifunctional, and it will still connect up to the nose cone of the Sky Striker to tow it into position. And when you
Fuck would buy
do
a
have the
cone?
nose cone in, when you want to fill in the hole left by the nose cone, they've got this kind of optics package. I don't know if you can see it, but it's
Yes, I
you
saw
can plug
that
it into
for
that hole.
reconnaissance and stuff, which is great.
Something that I have a bone to pick about, perhaps the classic Sky Striker, is it has a sort of a minigun nacelle sculpted into it. Well, this one has two. But they're sculpted into the underside, which makes a little bit more sense because on the old school, where the barrel came in, basically it would mean that the gun is edging into the cockpit, which kind of messes with my suspension of disbelief. I wish the classic Sky Striker just had a clean nose, and the gun pod, the centerline gun pod, that's your gun. Very much
Is
like
it-
the VF1s, or the Veritech fighters.
Like the
A
Falcon.
But
very hot
just like-
ride on the classic.
Just like, yeah.
I was going to say a very hot ride on the classic with the gun, with you essentially straddling the gun there.
Basically, yeah, it's in you. But just like the Veritech fighter, there is redundancy and overlap and overkill, very GI Joe like. The fact that they have the gun pod and then 2 sort of weapons in the nose of the craft as well. So yeah, there's just guns, missiles, blast
Although
effects,
technically
blast effects.
Technically, on a Valkyrie, the underside guns are actually defensive weapons.
Ooh, because they're attached to the head
Interesting.
of the.
Yeah, so it's to protect
Batroid.
the pilot from the missiles. And if you watch Macross, or Robotech, if you prefer, the missiles. You've seen how they plume into action. They're just all over the place. Can I share a picture quickly? Because I want to ask our resident Sky Striker expert, and that's you, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the underside of it? Yeah. Tell me.
It's
what is good about
customizable
this
in that you've got like all the missiles are duplicated, so you now have 4 Phoenixes, 4 Sparrows, 4 Sidewinders, and there are the kind of the double, like the outermost hard points can mount 2 missiles each. So yeah, like you didn't have customizability with the classic Sky Striker. You do now. Like there are images online of Tomcats with like 6 Phoenix missiles or more, and you're just like, whoa! What are the maneuvering characteristics of that plane? It must be like a flying a steam iron. But you can do it. Like the Tomcat could do it.
Yeah, that would probably have been the Bombcat then. That configuration.
Totally,
No, I'm being
totally.
serious. There is a configuration that's nicknamed the Bombcat.
I wish though that to make it a Bombcat, you had free fall ordnance. Like this is purely
You got a fuel tank.
an air superiority fighter. But you could have done a Sky Striker that had attack rolls. Maybe it's in one of the unlockable tiers that you get
Possible.
bombs in addition to the missiles. Because that's a missed opportunity big time. The fact that you've got the dogbone attachment points, the classic GI Joe hard points, but they don't comfortably fit other, pre-existing ordnance. Like you can't take your Rattler bombs and attach them to the Sky Striker. I don't think that works. But here we have an opportunity to tool up some new ordnance and make it, make it fit the Sky Striker.
So, something that jumped out at me is the tail hook, because I can't remember if the original has a tail hook.
No, and this one deploys. So it
Yes.
is not a separate piece that you need to buy a USS flag to acquire. This actually will interact, hopefully, with your arrestor cable from your flag without having to attach this weird, odd, long yellow piece. So yeah,
And then-
huge win there.
And then the other thing is, are these wings correct? The way the wings are done and the way the tail stabilizer, what is this called again? Anyway, doesn't matter.
The vertical
The
stabilizers.
Yeah, no, not the vertical. Yeah, I can't remember the name. These I'm pointing at them with my mouse, but I mean, obviously you can't see it. But the tail,
Soz.
like those ridges underneath the wings, is that correct? Is that accurate to the vintage?
Yes.
Okay, because that is something that personally bugged me on the modern era one, actually.
Okay.
I kind of wanted the wings to be like fat and thick. But hey, listen, that's me. Okay, I'm not. I had a feeling that might have been a gripe of yours. The fact that you're giving this such a sterling appraisal speaks volumes for it, actually. Hopefully
Look,
Hasbro's
there
doing
are
another
things
3,000.
that it does that I wish they'd corrected in a sense, but I know why they did what they did. They want this to pass the kind of the squint test. Like if you lined it up with your classic Sky Strikers, you don't want it to necessarily stick out like a sore thumb. But there's certain aesthetic things that I thought like, if you're going to change the guns, why don't you smooth out the underside? Because the classic Sky Striker has essentially like a sort of a bathtub at the bottom. In order to accommodate the figures, like there's this squared off section to the bottom, which extends below where like the smooth lines of a cockpit would be. And I was like, you could have just made that a smooth, like rounded underside instead of slavishly copying the vintage in that regard. But I do really like the intakes being filled in. They didn't do that with the 30th, but they've done it now. They've put turbines on the inside,
which is very cool. That is very sexy. I like that kind of detail. And now the question is, will you be buying one?
Skipping to that part already. I've got 40 days to decide.
Okay. Because here's the thing. I can't think of anybody in our trio who needs a
So
Sky
that's to
Striker
say
more
I'm
than you.
undecided at this point. Sorry.
Right. Because, I mean, you've got a flag. Okay? And one of the best things about having a Sky Striker is launching it off the deck of the flag, right? Secondly, this one's got all the modern tooling. Sorry, I'm not trying to sell it to you. I'm just, it's got some great modern refinements to it, which you've, mentioned now. And thirdly, it's a Sky Striker, dude. So I'm probably not going to get one. And I'll tell you why. I want to.
You're getting a Robo Skull, that's why.
I'm getting a Robo Skull. And there's a reason for that. Robo Skull is a damn cool toy. We spoke about it at length in the last episode. It's made by an independent company. I really want to support that. I really want to give them, my cash. And I want to make those guys. I want to help those guys succeed. Hasbro are already big guys, and I've got a lot of faith in the fact that this will reach its 10,000 goal. I'm just surprised it hasn't done so in 48 hours, considering it's the same price as the RoboSkull. And small little thing, there's a HasLab announcement on the 27th, and it has to do with Ghostbusters, and it's a proton pack. And I'm very curious to see how much that costs and what that entails. If that ends up being not as cool as I want it to be, then I may look at getting a Sky Striker for myself. But if I could only spend $230, or let's be fair, $250 on a cool GI Joe jet, then I think I'm going to go for the RoboSkull. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I have as much love for the Sky Striker as you do, as much as I love the F-14. Yeah.
I'm going to put a strike against old Hasbro's name right off the bat and just say RoboSkull offer international shipping. HasLab is exclusively United States and United Kingdom, as far as I can tell.
I don't understand how we live in a time where like everything is connected worldwide. In the internet, people, we live in our own countries, but we all connected and talking to, we have friends in every country in the world, essentially. But you can't ship things outside of the States.
And this is
How is that still a
Hasbro,
thing?
guys. This is motherfucking Hasbro? Are you kidding me? Like, this isn't an independent toy company. These guys have shipping containers going everywhere. You're telling me you can't buy Star Wars Monopoly in Zimbabwe? You're telling me you can't buy Mr. Potato Head in Costa Rica? Like, that really fucking grinds my gears. Sorry.
No,
that
agree.
pisses me off that it's not worked into the price that it's worldwide. Like, I have an address in the UK, and I have many a friend in the United States who would happily be my kind of waypoint. So that puts it within my grasp. But then the onward postage from there, and this isn't going to be a small box. With all those extras, it's going to be a considerable piece of postage. So actually, Hasbro, you suck big time on that front. I've just seen something I don't like. So the underside of the wings have connection points that are very visible, whereas the vintage kind of rooted, I don't know. I think the vintage rooted almost clean. Like you couldn't see anything.
You wouldn't notice
so like I
it,
said,
yeah.
I'm on the fence, and I've got 40 some days and some change to decide.
But I know, like for example,
If you don't find another Outback between now and then, maybe you can get this.
you know, everybody around me is getting damn Outbacks. Even the local Joe dealer that I'm friends with, he's got
Oh,
a
yeah?
damn Tiger Force Outback. It's like on my grail list. I mean, for crying out loud. Anyway,
Sorry,
enough
Paulie.
of that rant. Dude, I do think it's a cool toy, and I think $230 is actually not expensive for it. And I know that on a local GI Joe group that I'm on, a lot of guys were like, "Ooh, $230, yeesh, that's expensive." And I'm like, not really, considering that some of those guys that I've seen people spend like $5,000 to get a Castle Grayskull, for example, and Castle Grayskull's awesome and everything, but it's not as well, it's not as intricate as something like a Sky Striker. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, you mentioned extras.
Yeah, so extras, but sorry, before extras, something that I just remembered in the praise column. Okay, it comes with some unshown extras, like obviously the tail fins are removable to, substitute with included black tail fins to match the card art or the box art. But something that the images don't show, and that was demonstrated in the stream, is that the cockpit is segmented, meaning it raises and still leaves the front portion, attached to the plane.
Oh, that's neat.
Which might not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but to me, that makes a huge difference. Firstly, in terms of the realism, but secondly, in terms of the angles you can shoot it from. In terms of a play motion, you can actually do an over-the-shoulder shot with Ace. Something that I always wanted to do in things like Atlantis Factor and Blazing Sand, but never could because the cockpit was a solid, monocoque piece. It was one shell. You can do that now. It's like the Rattler in that regard. Nice touch. Anyways, the unlockables, yes, flight suit, Scarlet, not bad. I don't mind that at all. That's pretty neat. In her Glenda-esque colorings.
Her face is a bit sus though.
You don't like? It looks like they've done the classic head sculpt, but like made the eyes less derpy. Given her a little bit of mascara, or what is that? Whatever.
Eyeshadow, whatever's. I don't wear
makeup.
Something. Wings.
Eyelash stuff. And the other unlockables, Night Force Ripcord. Robbie?
That is amazing. I think he looks absolutely incredible. And it's O-ring. I mean, what the heck?
Yeah. Tasty.
Maybe if someone ends up selling that separately, I'll get just him.
I've only just noticed that. Yeah, right. I've only just noticed that he has the Night Force patch on his right shoulder. Love it.
What a cool inclusion, actually. Because if you are one of those people out there who own a Night Boomer, how great that you now have a ripcord to put in your Night Boomer. I don't know who's supposed to fly your Night Boomer, but at least you've got a ripcord that works with it.
A real boomer.
That's cool. Huh?
Wallace Weems, just as we remember him. Very nice. And nice that they chose Ripcord on a number of levels. The comic book reference, his In Search of Candy kind of debacle where he parachutes out of the Sky Striker backseat, unauthorized, to search for his girlfriend on Cobra Island, and then has a showdown with Zartan. Great comic book arc. The fact that he never really got reused. There was a couple of catalog shots of a potential prototype Tiger Force Ripcord, but as far as the sculpt is concerned, he never did get off the starting blocks. There was the 1984 version, and that was it. It was kind of left alone, at least in the domestic US run. So giving him some Night Force credentials and reusing this classic mold and bringing back the old rubber goods, the parachute pack and the mask air hose, like, to my mind, that gear hasn't been surpassed. Just the way it fits together, it's so solid, it's so nice. and is very welcome here. The fact that he can be a paratrooper on the ground, like you can take off the rubber goods, and he's still got a functional helmet and a rifle that looks legit. Like, they didn't gimp him in any way to make him fit his function. Like, he still looks like he could be an infantryman.
One of the
So
smartest
nice.
figures they released.
Yep. And then finally, Paul, we get some deck crew.
Condiment force, mustard and ketchup.
Codename mustard, codename ketchup.
And why? Because that's what they'll be if they mess their jobs up.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the deck crew that becomes an unlockable tier for the crowdfunding. They are done up in yellow and red. The one guy is yellow sort of jacket, and the other guy's red jacket. I'm sure they have significance for actual aircraft carrier crew, and if they don't, well, they should. But yeah, the fact that it's ketchup and mustard, very funny. You had me in stitches with that comment, Paul.
Well, it's an interesting thing on these because these are still the 3D models. Obviously, this isn't the actual figures.
Mm-hmm.
They also have those kind of caps on the bolts by their
Oh,
shoulders.
there we go. On the rivets, yeah.
So it must actually be a proper thing that they are doing.
I
they're
still
just using
dispute that
colored
it's an
rivets.
inserted cap, and I still think that they are potentially looking at painting over the metal with the same paint tones.
I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. But I mean, that's like a definite detail they've added there. I mean, they're very specifically rounded it out and shown that that's a thing.
This is why I love you, Bart. That mustache is out of regs. I love it. Meanwhile,
Thank goodness he's
Ooh.
working for GI Joe.
Has it exceeded the length of the mouth? But Bart, you haven't seen how wide this guy can smile. I don't know what the regulations on moustaches are. Do they have to be tighter than the corners of your mouth?
So tons of amazing stuff came out of PulseCon this year. I think they've definitely showed off a lot of really cool stuff.
Dude, yeah.
It's Richard Pryor. Nice.
Oh, dude. Wow. We, as fans, we are so spoiled with all of this stuff. It's actually really great. And it's cool that Hasbro has listened, to the fans and is paying attention to the fan base, as you mentioned earlier, Steve.
And confirmation from Bart that, yes, the moustache is past the corners of the mouth, hence it's not regulation. But hey, man, this is GI Joe. Those cats roll with full beards.
Is that because is that like a security thing? Like because if a secret agent had to sneak onto the deck and he was wearing an obnoxiously large, moustache to disguise himself, they would know. They'd be like, no, that's not Regs, and then they would bust him.
I think that's definitely the reason.
Meanwhile, in my play days.
My only worry with this whole HasLab thing is that the only way we're going to get vehicles from now on for the 3 3/4 inch line is if people crowdfund them essentially for Hasbro? Or will future vehicles, if they ever do more vehicles, will they be just part of the line itself? Or is it just the size of the Sky Striker that demands that they need to crowdfund it? Like, I don't want to have to crowdfund I don't know, a whale, or a warthog or something. I would hope that those would be available. Yeah, no, they obviously are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at all the extras, it's tooled, I mean, they themselves know that they're going to be shipping out a certain number of these things. There is interest, so they only make as many as people are interested in. But it's kind of worrisome. Like, I'd love new vehicles, added to the line. If they are going forward with
the retro
construction
collection.
again.
The retro collection have been putting out the old molds, the Ore Striker, the Hiss. So in the same vein as that, I wouldn't be surprised. Look, they're not going to do it because it would be direct competition with this HasLab, but they could have done the 30th, the tried and true old 30th anniversary Sky Striker could have seen release in the retro collection. But
yeah, for sure.
Judging by this
money.
HasLab, the modern era construction retro collection was left out in the cold does send a troubling message that maybe that's, they're gonna ditch that in favor of O-ring now.
I
So
hope so.
course correction
I
all
hope
over
so
the
too.
show.
I'd love some bloody
Because
new O-ring figures, like, or re-releases or new. I think they just go crazy. Give us new figures.
here's
And
the
to your
thing,
point, Rob,
yeah,
it
sorry.
feels like the Sky Striker is playing it safe, very safe.
Mm.
The price point isn't exorbitant. I'm looking at you, Razor Crest, and you, Sentinel, and all the other HasLabs
Jabba
have
sail
been
barge.
Unicron.
And the Star Wars one, what did they just come out with? The big the Rancor, I think.
All right, yeah.
I don't know what the
Yeah.
price point is in that, but I can't imagine it being cheap.
So there are
I
kind of
can't
more
wait to spend that
conservative.
much money to relive just one scene from Star Wars. Carry on.
Oh, yeah, truth.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, the same could be said for the Razor Crest, which is now, debris,
Crestfallen.
space
But
debris.
at least that's a cool. But at least it's a cool toy. Like, yeah. Anyway, carry on. Sorry. Let me not get into that. Let me not fall down that hole right now.
Spoilerific. Sorry, Mando fans who haven't watched it. Anyways, dudes, yeah, like the whole idea with crowdfunding Hasbro projects, to my mind, is that these are the design teams saying, we so want to do this toy, but we can't push it past the goalposts with the higher ups in Hasbro. Like the money men are saying, no, we're not doing that. It doesn't have a movie attached to it or whatever. And this is like them proving, like sticking it to the man, basically telling upper management, fuck you, the fans do want this, and they're going to vote with their dollars. So let's
Yeah.
put together an amazing package that they just can't say no to. And already things are moving with the Sky Striker. I think it'll blow past its initial goal. I think it'll probably blow past its stretch goals. It's priced sweetly enough to do that. And I think it offers enough new stuff to offset the fact that a lot of people are saying, hey, but we've got Sky Strikers up the wazoo.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
is it new enough? Like, everyone was like, we want a classified his tank. Give us a classified his tank. Give us classified his tank, please. Or you could put so much into it. You could have LED lights, which is something that his tank always needed. Get that light bar actually lighting up. And that's something that a lot of the previous HasLab projects suggest. It's like they will put more electronics into these things because they can justify the expenditure. The Sky Striker is a plastic toy geared at O-ring collectors. Like, this is as old school as you get. This is as conservative and safe as you get. So time will tell how this course correction is met. But yeah, people have been salivating for it. The crowds have been clamoring for it. They've been rioting in the streets for it. And we're getting it. We're getting it, guys. Let's see how this
And-
plays out.
Yeah, the excitement for it is palpable. My argument for kickstarting something, for and against the for, I'll start with like why I think it's a good thing. You can kickstart something. Hasbro can produce like a product with high quality tooling. They can give it all of the features it needs, and then the stretch goals allow you to get the extras and stuff that would make it even more valuable for you, which means that you're getting a product that is not gimped. They're not having to send it to the higher ups, and the higher ups are like, no, it's too expensive. Give us another sample that will be cheaper to tool. So, we're benefiting from the fact that, okay, we are putting money into a place that it has to go for it to be a high quality product. So that's a big one for the Kickstarter. Another big one as well is always crowdfunding. Sorry, Kickstarter's branding is very good. But with the crowdfunding exercise, the fact that you can order it on HasLab now and not have to pay $230 is pretty good. Which, until it closes, until it's reached its funding goal. That's a great
Yeah,
thing.
I'd much rather it sort of happened by surprise. Hey, Paul?
Hey!
Like, oh, didn't that HasLab, that closed today, didn't it? Ching, check your credit card statement.
Oh shit! Not gonna eat for a month.
But it does give you a chance to save up for it, which is cool. So like
Yes,
for myself,
agreed.
like I'm getting a Robo Skull. Cool. Okay. That's money I have to like make sure is available within the next like 20 days or so as of this recording. So yeah, cool. I'm gonna get a Robo Skull, but now I've still got maybe a little bit of wiggle room to magically try and make plans to get a Sky Striker. That's rad. that's the great thing about crowdfunding is it does allow you to sort of build up some kind of or some kind of cash to buy that. So I'm down with
And
that.
in your business, Paul, like you might strike it rich like tomorrow. You might get a
Exactly.
big client, and then you're like, okay, cool, I can whack this on the credit card because guess what? I'm getting a huge payout in December.
Totally,
So
yeah, so there's that side of it. The negative side of it is obviously like a company that big shouldn't need to crowdfund things. Oh, sorry, one more
I
positive
think my
thing.
logic
Yeah.
does hold though, Paul. Like that
Yeah.
is often cited as the reason. Like, why should we be crowdfunding this? This is Hasbro; they're huge. But I think we sometimes fail to see that like the toy designers, the teams working on GI Joe, on Marvel,
They're the passionate
on
ones, yeah.
Transformers, they're the small guys. They're the
Yeah.
artists. They're you and me. They're toy fans first and foremost. And it's
Yep.
the big bosses who control what ultimately passes the finish line or not. And
No,
so if
true.
this fell short of that, then they got to go all in, put in the extra effort, and make it an attractive crowdfunding initiative. Like HasLab has put things within our reach that we would not have seen in this toy climate. This isn't the
Yeah.
80s. Like they aren't just making USS flags to go onto not even shelves, store floors, and just sit there hoping someone bites come Christmas time.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, if you look
which
at
is-
the most toys that come out these days, they're all very basic. I
Anyways,
mean, the
so
stuff
that's all the
that-
defending
yeah.
of Hasbro that I want to do because I still
Yeah.
think fuck them for hooking us in the 80s and 90s on this brand as internationals and then not following through. I've not been able to go to my supermarket and buy carded GI Joes in a long time, and that
To which-
sucks.
To what my response to your earlier argument would be Lego. Lego allows people to vote for for the creator things that they feel are going to enrich them. And they don't have to vote with their money. They can literally vote on the next creator set. And that's why we have things like the DeLorean, and why we have the light cycles from Tron, and why we have the Ecto 1, and why we have the Firehouse. Because like Hasbro, they've got a lot of money, and instead of making people crowdfund their project, they've made people vote their project into existence. And so that's the alternative to crowdfunding. And that's why I'm saying like the negative of it is I still hold true on that point that I made with the negative side of it is that, they should have the money for the tooling and things like that. And yes, you're right. It is the little guy versus, the big corporate decision makers and things. But Lego gets that right. And so that's something that maybe, it's something that we should consider going forward. And I feel like it needs to be said. That said, though, let's not look a gift horse in the mouth right now. The fact that we can get a Sky Striker, HasLab has finally listened to GI Joe fans. The fact that we can vote with our credit cards or with our money to make these things happen, and hopefully it spurns on future developments like things like a whale, a night raven, a purple helicopter, and a Rappler. That would be fantastic. And if it means that we are
Classified
now,
hiss.
there we
Yeah.
go, man.
I think the
And if
classified
we get-
line needs some vehicle love. I mean,
And you know what? If Retro Joes come into the store with O-rings, happy days. If anything, I'm going to drop $30 on that Storm Shadow Snake Eyes 2-pack, if only to use that as a means of communicating to Hasbro that as a fan, I want this, and I want more of this.
More
and it would
O-ring.
be great if we could get this in the stores as well. Make it easier to carry and get hold of.
so to wrap up for PulseCon, was there anything else you guys saw that kind of wet your whistle, non-Joe related?
Oh yes, there's two things.
Oh, there's two things. Yeah, I have a couple of things too. If you wanna take a peek.
I briefly. Oh yeah, show us, Rob, because you haven't
show
had a
you.
chance to say something cool.
So this I thought was really cool. They're doing a skids.
I saw that and thought of
Skids
you.
is one of my favorite. I was going to say GI Joe's Transformer, and I think he looks really cool. I mean,
And we
he's
might even get him
pretty
here locally.
basic, pretty straightforward, which is awesome, and it's not too hectic. Like they haven't they haven't dumbed down the transformation from what I can see, and he's well articulated. Yeah,
Love
I
those
think
shoulders.
if we get this locally, I think I would definitely love to get this. Another one that I thought was interesting. I'm sure it'll make all the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fans happy was Pig Boy, or whatever his name is.
I would not have expected you to be excited about that. That's awesome.
It's absolutely incredible. I think
He's
this is
great,
one of those
eh?
characters I remember from the show. And
How did
he
you forget?
comes with incredible accessories. It's amazing that they turned it into a toy. I think that's absolutely amazing. And instead of bringing us, his tank or something else, we got Pig Boy from Power Rangers. And
Is his name Pig Boy?
I actually have no idea
I
what
don't
his
know.
name
I think
is.
it's Killer Pig
don't
or
think it's
something
that.
stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look it
Pig.
up. 'Cause,
Fix us
they
in
had
the
some
comments.
Roman
perler
Pigman.
names.
And then also for all those people clamoring for a Star Wars fans who've been clamoring for it, you can finally have Child Anakin. Oh, joy.
He's
What
only
a
alive
joy.
because adult Anakin doesn't exist yet.
It's who's asking for this? That's my question. Who wants Child Anakin? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Why is this happening? It's like, oh Lord. Yeah, so Pig Boy, Skids, and Child Anakin. Those are my highlights from the Pig Boy's
Guys,
much better.
I've got to go. It's
Oh,
it's
shit.
almost 7 a.m. in Queensland.
Oh my
and
God,
it's
dude.
it's time to wake
kid's
up.
gonna
The
wake up
small, the small. He's
The
small.
little guy. Can
Well,
I
Paul, if
in
you
this
want to
room-
quickly mention your other choices before Stephen leaves us.
No.
to go?
I've got to go. It's happening now.
Okay,
But
then.
as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you to the Berg Force for joining us on this episode. Thank you to everyone listening out there. I am desperate to tell you how things went with my my play diaries.
Me too.
In episode 220, Whoa, Paul took pictures.
Yeah.
We'll do this. We'll do this next week. But basically, I have somewhat made good on my word that I would set aside 30 minutes or more every night to play with my toys.
That's
No
fantastic.
taking pictures, no blogging, no posting to any social media, no filming, just raw play time. And it's been a roaring success.
Well,
yes.
then
So
I look forward
tune
to
into episode
222.
222, exactly.
222.
That one. And I'll see you on the next one, boys. You can catch us in the usual places. Scroll on down and check out the link to our Gmail account, arealsouthafricanhero@gmail.com, or wherever we're social. Look us up on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on the YouTube comments thread. And that's
Heck yeah,
me. I'm
do it.
out. You guys can close out the show however you want.
gonna-
Talk smack about me.
Hey. Have fun with
yeah.
your son, dude.
You can catch it in the edit.
Fun with the sun. I most certainly will. Later, dudes.
Rob,
Cheers,
till later,
cheers.
dude. Rob,
So, Paul,
which-
regale me
yes.
with what your other favorites were.
Well, the proton pack reveal at the HasLab alleged proton pack reveal, which will be going live on the 27th, has got me very fired up and excited. And that is the one thing. And then the other thing that's got me really amped, and it's not HasLab related, and it's related to what are you watching, what are you playing, and all that good stuff, is I finally got a chance to go to the movies. I went to the cinema.
Ooh,
Yes.
damn, dude. What got you
And-
out of the house?
Dune.
Oh, God. I want to watch that on the big screen so badly.
I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to say anything other than this. I'm so glad that this is the first movie I've watched since the Joker in cinema. Yeah, I think the last movie I watched in cinema was actually the Joker. Did Avengers Endgame come out after the Joker?
I think it came up before.
Yeah, okay, so then Joker was actually the last film I had seen in cinema because I saw the poster for Snake Eyes in the cinema when I went to watch Dune. So it's actually still coming. We're still getting it, apparently. So that's cool. So, I mean, I haven't had a chance. I mean, we haven't been able to watch that. And I didn't get to watch Shang-Chi in cinema, but I did watch Dune. And let me tell you, I believe it's nothing short of a masterpiece. It
Good
is
Lord. I gotta see it then.
unbelievable. I will go as far as to say, well, actually not go as far as to say, I did throughout most of the duration of that film. I had tears welling up in my eyes in some sections, not because the film has got these like deep emotional cuts. I mean, it does. I mean, if you've read the book and you know something about Dune, you know it's got some moments, but the sheer magnitude of that film and the enormity of things. I mean, just the scale and the sound, the score. Rob, I'm sorry if I'm setting you up and I'm overhyping this for you, but I honestly feel when you walk into that cinema and you watch this film and you walk out, you may feel some form of reverence.
Well, I think as a return to the cinema, I think it would be a great movie to see first. I am off next weekend, so maybe I'll try and make this happen. The difficult thing is like there's no cinemas anywhere near me anymore.
Oh no!
I'll figure out. Yeah, well, the waterfront here, the new metro apparently is closed down. I thought they were just doing renovations. They've closed
Oh
down.
no, that's so sad.
Yeah, so the next nearest is a place called Canal Walk,
Yeah.
or actually back at work. So on my day off, I would just go to
Cavendish.
work
Yeah.
to watch a movie.
Shame,
It's
man.
actually probably the easiest way of doing it.
Oh, hectic, man. Oh, well, I hope you get. I mean, listen. The problem with the only issue with Dune that I experienced in the whole film, and it's not even like an issue with the movie, but just to explain like how great that film was, we watched it in like the PP cinema. Like we went to go watch it at a good cinema, but the kini, you know, like the actual like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I watched
Yeah.
it not in 3D, and they put it in Cinema 8. And Cinema 8 is like probably got the smallest screen, it's when they cycle movies through, and it's opening night, and it's like a small screen, and the sound wasn't even that good, and I still had that feeling from that movie. So
That's fantastic.
I can only imagine how cool it's going to be when I watch it in a big cinema, like if I get to watch it on IMAX, which I would really, really like to do.
I would love to do that. I
wow.
mean, I was actually, as we were talking, I checked. We have an IMAX. It's out near where my mom lives, but I see it's in 3D. And 3D usually worries me, but I think IMAX 3D isn't too bad. If I remember from my previous experiences, they do light the screen well enough to kind of compensate for the darkness of 3D glasses. So maybe got to figure this out. I think it's definitely a movie that you need to see on a big screen.
Totally.
It's a cinematic movie.
It's just a masterpiece. Wow.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like, so that's something I'm dying to check out again, actually. And I've also been watching Cowboy Bebop. It's now on Netflix.
Oh yes,
One of
it's
the
now on
coolest
Netflix
animes ever made.
worldwide. I've
Yes.
rewatched the first 3 episodes, and it's as good as I remember it being.
So yeah, exactly, and it's how I'm getting, like, I introduced Cecilia to Cowboy Bebop, aka also anime. So let's see.
I think
how
it's
that goes.
it's the best introduction because I mean, each episode is its own thing. It's a self-contained story, but they are building slowly. They're introducing the characters, the team, as they go along. So there's like a build-up, and then I even forgot from the very first episode, you kind of get that feeling of Spike's past. In
Yes.
that black and white sequence, and then that obviously comes back right at the end in the movie,
Yes.
where they kind of deal with that properly. But yeah, I think it's the best introduction to anime you could possibly have. And if you don't
Totally.
like anime after watching this, then you don't like
obviously
anime,
don't like
and that's
anime.
fine.
But
You don't have to like anime, but if you watch this and you get the feeling I need to watch more anime, then fantastic.
And then also like, and unfortunately we won't be able to do an after party because it's getting quite late this side.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. This will
time,
have
for
to
this episode.
for this. But
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
hopefully next week we'll see what happens if we
Probably
breeze through
next week,
Stephen's
definitely.
fantastic playtime recountings. I'm very excited
Yeah.
for next week. I
Because
think
this episode, like, we've got like 2 hours, and it's quite amazing because there's just been a lot to speak about.
there's been incredible stuff coming out of Hasbro, but we've got incredible stuff coming out of us too.
Exactly.
If you enjoy what we do, you can join the Berg Force on Patreon. We do really cool stuff for you guys. Paul makes incredible things. He makes music. He makes cardboard things you can print out and add to your dioramas.
Oh, thank you, Rob.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
And yeah, man, and you can catch all of that stuff if you need to. Yeah, like Rob said, it's on the Patreon. You can check that out. Just a huge thank you to these sexy, amazing people, the Berg Force.
Absolutely.
that have been supporting us via Patreon. It helps us run StreamYard. It helps us get cool toys and stuff to use for play motions and for reviews and chats and unboxings, and just generally keeps us up to date. And these guys have been looking after us in the best way. So thank you so much, guys. And if you want to join the Patreon, the link is in the description below. We also got some cool merchandise if you want to check that out. Christmas is coming soon, hint, hint. So we got some of that rad stuff. For the Berg Force, I have been working on some nice surprises. Some of the Berg Force have already received their stuff. My goal is still to try and get it out by the end of the month. And I'm working feverishly at a fever pitch to get them out there. And so that's working out quite well. I just released a new track on Patreon. I'll make it available to you and Stephen as well, Rob.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. It's the Starlit Highway. That track is out. It's a very cool, when I say very cool, my intention for it is to be a very cool outrunny type synthwave, little bit of a dark wave kind of vibe
I mean,
of a track.
the title itself made me think synthwave.
Right? Yeah. So, and the guys seem to be digging it. So that kind of thing you can find on Patreon, whatever's.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, guys, as always, liking, commenting, subscribing, chatting to us on Facebook. This is the best way to support us as well. Just, we love hearing from you. We love seeing you. We love having you here as our audience members. It's just so cool. We're very blessed. And thank you very much.
Yeah, and once again, happy birthday, Paul. I hope you had
Thank
an
you, dude.
amazing birthday. It sounds like you did. And I'm
did,
glad we
yeah.
got to share at least 2 hours with you.
Sweet. Yeah, shot, man. It was great. And then what an awesome, weekend. I mean, it's my birthday and we get all this cool Hasbro announcement stuff coming
Good
out.
Lord. Yeah, your shopping list is full for the next couple of months.
That's right. And I'm going to have a strong fondness for 2-minute noodles. So here we go. Until next time, guys.
Heck yeah.
Stay awesome, stay cool, stay safe. And when I say stay safe, I mean don't do anything crazy like hang gliding naked or anything.
Yeah.
Keep
At
playing
least
with
wear
your
shorts.
toys. Keep playing with your toys. Keep making awesome stuff. And yeah, until the next one.
Burgers. I want some burgers now.
Add that dead crew from the flag. Condiment force. Add condiment force. Ketchup and mustard are gonna be on your burg. Cool, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.